All right, it's the first day of the Donald Trump hush money trial. I'm Rob on the right. Let's go take a look.
Let's get caught up on what everyone thinks about this, starting with you, Judge. If you could give us your take.
First of all, to go off of what Jonathan Turley was saying, the Department of Justice refused to go forward. The Federal Election Commission refused to go forward. Cy Vance, the DA, refused. Alvin Bragg, the DA, refused. And
you know, this is stuff I don't hear normally. I mean, obviously, we have a very left-leaning media, but when I talk to my friends about this subject, they seem like, yeah, you know, he's just blatantly guilty and that everybody's on board. But what I'm hearing is that a lot of people don't even want to touch this.
I was a DA, and the way you bring and try cases is you try them based upon what should go first. In New York State, people in jail get a priority in terms of timing. A person who's charged with a violent crime gets a priority. So think about the fact that we are backlogged because of COVID. Every major DA's office in New York State is trying cases, violent felony cases from 21 and 2022. They are not trying cases where the defendant is not in jail and where it's not a violent crime.
Yeah, I agree. The timing of this is too auspicious. I have friends who've gone through some legal issues, and it takes years to get to this point, especially in a case that's so monumental like this. It feels very rushed. If it really truly were about justice, it could wait until after this election cycle, whether you like Donald or not. The point is that we really should not be hunting down our opponents during an election cycle. For example, here in Tennessee, we had an alderman who was associated with white supremacist groups. Even though I felt like, yeah, get that woman out of there, the other alderman knew it wasn't right to censure her during an election cycle. And so they didn't. I mean, I'm living in that and I see it, and then I watch this happen nationally. You know, really, it upsets me. It upsets me that we as a nation aren't doing what they did locally.
Because of the backlog, every major DA's office in New York State is trying cases, violent felony cases from 21 and 2022. They are not trying cases where the defendant is not in jail and where it's not a violent crime. And they're taking a case out of order where the defendant is not in jail. It's not a violent crime because they want to make sure that they can parade Donald Trump as a convicted felon in front of the American people. And the idea of a speedy trial is not for the prosecution. It's for the defense. And you couple this with the violation, the discovery violation of 30,000 pages of information that they should have had 6 months to review. They gave him 2 weeks. This is all an effort to make sure that Donald Trump does not run for office in a positive way.
I mean, that there in itself, when I heard that, I knew that was a tactic, that's not standard procedure, especially with the volume of what had to be discovered.
And then he gets denied the opportunity to go and see the son's graduation. He can't campaign, and maybe that was part of the plan all along. Yeah.
That doesn't sit right with me. I can understand when it comes up if they were to think that he was using that as an avoidance tactic. But I mean, to just preemptively say you're not going to be able to go to your son's event or that you may not be able to, that's just gross.
It would be refreshing to see the other side reframe this honestly. Like last week, Bill Maher was talking about abortion, and he said, it's murder, but I'm okay with it. Yep. You could despise that, but it was honest from a liberal. So it would be nice to hear a Democrat get honest here and say, we get it. This case is bogus, purely political, but we're okay with it, right?
I agree. You know, I started this channel kind of tongue-in-cheek. I'm Rob Wright. My last name is actually Wright. I just dropped the W. I had a family member say, you really like to be right, don't you? And to be honest, yes, because I think in order to be right, you have to honor truth. You have to discover truth. And you have to make a stand or a statement or a position, take a position that is correct and in alignment with truth in order to be right. So I just jokingly say right. But yeah, it seems like people on the right tend to be more right. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. No, even when I'm wrong, I'm still right.
Right? We're just trying to bring Trump down or we'll lose the election. Just admit it. Our campaign strategy is to eliminate his campaign strategy. I go back to what I said on Friday.
That is so evident. I mean, literally, when I talk to friends who are supportive of Biden, they really aren't supportive of Biden. They just don't like Trump, and that's it.
I go back to what I said on Friday about OJ, that travesty of justice. It revealed that what is outside the court matters more than any evidence inside. We saw, 50 of the jurors dismissed out of 96. So the location of the trial, right? If that didn't matter, then why the resistance to move it, and why are you seeing so many people drop out? Because it mattered more than the evidence to the people doing this. What about the biases of the prosecutors who are obviously actively Democrats? Media didn't want to report, still doesn't report that. The strangest thing about this to me is Michael Cohen being like the lead witness. The person in charge of giving the legal advice to the defendant is a witness to the crime, as well as being the responsible party for the crime. It's like the hospital suing the patient for a surgeon's malpractice.
Yeah, I agree about Cohen. I never understood that aspect. Before I started this channel, I was backing away from politics. 2020 was a madhouse. I mean, we all can agree on that, no matter what side of the rope we choose. But now that we're moving into 2020, I felt like it was important to pay attention and maybe even cover these topics, because it seems like the liberal media really wants to downplay any of these talking points or any of these data points.
I wonder how many men and women in the media are cheering this hush money charge, have signed non-disclosure agreements, which are exactly the same thing. You paid money not to divulge information to the press. In the last 20 years, the entertainment industry, media, politics have been doling out NDAs like there were Bed Bath & Beyond coupons.
Well, to be honest, I've never been paid for my NDAs that I've signed, and vice versa. But I can kind of see the connective tissue there. This is basically an NDA with a little bit of a reward behind it. I guess if I was a consultant, maybe I would ask for a consultant fee and then sign an NDA. So I don't know. It's loose, but I can see his point.
So I just find that kind of like, this is not a crime, but it's a hypocritical one when the media thinks it is.
Jesse, did you have a chance to digest all of this today to bring us your brilliant thoughts?
Well, those coupons are great. 50% off sometimes.
But you always leave them at home.
You never bring them.
Yep.
And then they gouge you.
This is why I don't go to Bed Bath & Beyond.
Alvin Bragg is arguing that Donald Trump should have paid with campaign funds Stormy Daniels.
What? Is that even real? I'm going to have to go research that. That seems so, backwards to me. I mean, that's like bizarro.
You don't think Alvin Bragg would have charged Donald Trump with the crime for using donor money to pay off Stormy Daniels?
Of course he would have. I mean, I have liberal friends and family that attest to that, saying that this is what this trial is about, is that he used campaign money to hush somebody. That's what I thought it was until I watched this. Crazy.
He's damned if he does and damned if he doesn't. You're not allowed to use campaign money for personal expenses. It is illegal for politicians to spend campaign money on haircuts, plastic surgery, to make themselves look better for the election, golf club memberships, those types of things that make you more appealing before an election. You can't use campaign money for.
Ask George.
Those are personal expenses. What is more personal than your marriage? This is all this is about. This is a personal expense. Bill Clinton, when he was president, paid off Paula Jones.
To that point, he also got to go to Chelsea's wedding or graduation or whatever was going on. I mean, he was never locked down to a courtroom when he was going through his blowjob trial.
Is Alvin Bragg saying that he should have used donor money for that? Of course not. He used private money. because that was a private matter. This is the most corrupt prosecution. The judge, everybody hits on this. This is a guy who ran on getting Donald Trump. He's a Democrat. The judge is a Democrat donor. His family's getting paid by the Biden campaign, got paid by Adam Schiff. And the jury pool's 90% Democrat. And the star witness is a stone cold felon and a liar.
Yeah, that's
And
crazy.
the jury pool is basically like the OJ jury pool.
It's funny how life repeats itself, huh? And I find even more ironic that OJ just died. So topically, it's back in our minds again about how corrupt this system truly is.
You're going to have people trying to wiggle into that jury and send a message, just like they did with the juice. Now, Donald Trump's eyeballing all of these prospective jurors, which is the best part.
Yeah.
He's like, ultra MAGA. Ultra. And so this is going to be fun to see him kind of like size up these jurors. And the fact that if this judge says he can't attend Barron's high school graduation, he wins in a landslide.
You know, this is the dumbest thing that they did. Possibly they want it to be dumb. I don't know. Who knows what's going on behind closed doors? But I think that sums it up. You know, the idea that a parent is being separated from their child because of a hush money trial case. I think Piers Morgan sums up this whole situation succinctly. Let's listen to him.
I think this is one of the most pathetic, petty, self-harming acts of political suicide I've ever witnessed. Donald Trump should go to his son's graduation. Right?
Ooh.
Yeah, I totally see where you're going with this.
Go to the graduation. Honestly, if you're watching President Trump, just go to the graduation. Every parent in America, whether they like you or hate you, will go, yeah, I'd have done that too.
Heck yeah. I mean, totally. I love this. This is a great strategy right here. You know, they are misusing the system. Well, then you shouldn't even recognize their authority.
Because this case is utterly ridiculous. I always thought if this was the one that came up first, there are plenty of reasons to criticize Trump. There are plenty of cases down the line where there's probably a more serious case against him. This is completely nonsensical to me, that you would take a former president of the United States and you would put him in a courtroom over hush money to potentially a one-night stand with a porn star. And if he's found guilty, he may get a 10-year prison sentence. Have you all lost your minds, America? What a demeaning way to treat a former president anyway. But secondly, if you're on the left, why would you think this would possibly work? Why would you not think that what you're doing here is going to almost guarantee Donald Trump wins the next election? The only thing that could absolutely guarantee it is if he's found guilty and put in a prison cell. Because at that moment, Trump wins by a landslide. This is a farcical case. And if anyone on the left is watching this and doesn't agree, you have lost your minds. Take it to the bank.
All right, well, we'll stop there. I think we get the idea. Pierce, he's not even from this country, and he understands what's going on. You know, I followed him over the years, and he goes back and forth. But, man, this is so blatant, so apparent. This trial is going to be one heck of a ride. I really hope you guys join me on this journey. This is Rob on the Right, and until the next time, see you around the campus.